So as you can see, I have a ton of lubricants. So all these lubricants are different in their own ways, but they are all made to make puzzles turn better. So that got me thinking, what happens if I mix every single one of these lubricants together into one syringe? What would happen? But before we get to this, I think I'm going to try to make 2 of my own lubes with these 2 syringes. So with this first lubricant, I want to combine all of the fast lubes and see how fast I can make this lube. And then for the second lubricant, I'm going to combine all of the smooth and quiet lubricants and see what that can result in. So yeah, those are my plans for these 3 syringes. Hopefully this goes well. It probably won't, but we'll see. So let's just get straight into this. So first off, I'm going to try to make the fast lubricant. So let's see which combinations would work for that. So my first choice is Lubricant 1. This is definitely a very light lubricant, as you can see here. I use this a lot to speed up my puzzles. It also makes the puzzles extremely smooth, which is nice. This is definitely a great lube. The first time I tried this actually was on my GAN cube, and it just made it so fast immediately, and that really surprised me. So I want to try to use this lube to combine it with some other lubes to make a fast lube. Next up, I have to go with Celeritas. I don't know how this would work because it's a 2-part lube. I'm not sure how that would mix with everything else. But after using this combination in my cubes, it makes my cubes quite fast, and I think this is going to be an important factor into this lube. I can't forget Max Fleet, the more recent lube from the Cubeco. I haven't used this lube too much really, but what I've seen and heard about this lube is that it makes cubes really fast. So I'm definitely going to try this. Finally, to top it off, I think I'm going to put some DNM37 in this cube. This is definitely the fastest out of I think all of these. Just a few drops of this lube makes cubes just super fast immediately. This is a water-based lube, so I'm also curious on how it would combine with these lubes. So I'm no chemist, so I have no idea what's going to happen, but it'll be pretty interesting to see these lubes. So this is a water-based lube, we have a silicone-based lube. I have no idea what this is, and I have no idea what this is. So yeah, let's try to test this out and put them all in one lubricant. So I haven't really thought about how I'm going to do this. I think putting it through this hole is going to be a bad idea because it's pretty small. So I think what I'm supposed to do is put it through here. Now this is definitely not how real lubes are made because I don't have a large supply of all these lubes. But I think I'm just going to drop the lubes through this hole and hopefully they mix somehow. We'll see. I'm also not quite sure of how many drops to put of each lube. I do want to have a decent amount, so maybe I can use this in real cubes. So maybe I'll try 5 to 10 drops of each, and that might make this like have a decent amount of lube. I'm not quite sure. Okay, so this can go really well or really badly. So hopefully it goes well. First off, we got Lubricant 1, shaking it up so it mixes all well, I guess. And I think we'll go with 10 drops here, and let's see what happens. So yeah, I guess it is building up a little bit here. You can't see much of it, but yeah, it is there. It's kind of watery, so it's kind of moving around a lot. So I guess that's a good thing for this fast lube. But next, let's try Celeritas. With this lubricant, it's definitely be quite different because it's a 2-part lube. First off, I'm supposed to use A, then B. So I guess I'll just add like 5 drops of each, maybe a bit more. I'm not sure how that would mix with this or how these two would react at all. But I guess we'll see. So this lube is kind of heavier, it's kind of leaving something here, but I think that's fine. Is it mixing well? I have no clue. I am not quite sure what I'm doing right now, and this is probably not the best idea, but whatever. Let's just try to add some B now. Now this is a pretty small syringe, but if the A and B react, maybe I can get that on camera, and that'll be pretty cool to show. So maybe just another 6 drops or so? I'm not sure quite what the reaction was between the A and the B Celeritas, but it now has a yellow tint to it. It's not fully yellow, there's some like white parts here and there, but there's like some yellow drops in there, which is interesting. So there's Lubricant 1, Celeritas A and B. That's the result. It's a bit light yellowish color, which is kind of expected, but yeah, interesting result. So I guess next we'll put in the Max Fleet, and I guess I couldn't find a stand, so we're gonna have to go over a bit of tape here. So just a quick reminder that this may or may not be safe to do at home. I am not sure how these chemicals react. They might explode. Hopefully not. So now we have Max Fleet. This thing jets out pretty quickly, so I have to be a bit careful there. But I think I can't really put drops, but I'll put like a decent amount in there. Okay, why is that sticking? Not sure that's the greatest sign. Yeah, it's just sticking all over. It's not going in. That's weird. Yeah, maybe this wasn't the best idea. I should have went a bit more straight maybe. So it actually goes to the bottom. This thing's not going in, huh? So I'm not sure how to quite get this down. Should I just wait for it or like run some water through it? I have no clue, but it is not going down. Just sticking to the top. Okay, so I tried running some water through it. It is not working. Let's try to push it down. Would that be smart? I don't know. I can't even push it all the way. So it seems like the max fleet just doesn't want to mix with everything else. It's just stuck in the middle. I guess we'll push it out as we try to lube, but for now we're just still stuck in the middle. Lastly, let's try D&M. Maybe this will give it a bit more color. We'll see. Okay, that is quite strange. You see how that blackness just stays there and doesn't mix with the yellow or the white? Now D&M is a water-based lubricant, so I'm guessing there has to be some hydrophobic components with these lubricants or something like that, because this thing just does not want to mix. Also, if you hold up vertically, it seems like it has some layers to it. It has a bit of yellow on the bottom, then it has some gray, then the white on top, and then of course the fleet is still stuck in the middle. Wow, this is quite strange. I wonder how this is actually working in a cube though. So let's check that out. So I got the top on, and I think I'm just gonna shake it and let's see if that does anything. Oh wait, I think that did something. So it seems like all the loops have suddenly mixed and now it's gray. I'm not sure if that's because of the max fleet going in or maybe because the D&M started to mix. I have no clue. That is so strange. I'm not sure if you can see here, but in the middle there's still a lot of little bubbles that are dark gray compared to the light gray of everything else. So I think that might be some D&M still floating around, which is interesting. Also interesting, if you hold it vertically, you can kind of see those little bubble things in the middle, which I assume is a D&M. Actually, maybe now that I think about it, it might be the max fleet because that's the more solid thing. It's not really a liquid, it's more solid. So it might be the max fleet that's in the middle. That might also explain why the max fleet wouldn't go in, because it's more of a solid than a liquid maybe, and that's why it's sticking to the sides. I am not sure, but this is quite interesting. So I'm gonna try out all three of the lubes that I make with these three Volks here. These are all pretty dry Volks, as you can hear, kind of. So this one is going to be the fast one, so I think I'm gonna put a post-it on it so I don't forget. This is going to be the fast one. This is going to be the quiet, smooth one, and this one is going to be the final one with all the components. Also has Matt's Volk signature on it, which is pretty cool. So yeah, let's first lubricate this one. So before the lube, it's quite dry. Feels kind of clacky. So I'm wondering how the speed will improve or how the feel will change. Okay, we are putting on the tip now. So now I guess we can try this new lube I created. Hopefully it goes well. I have to be a bit careful before putting it in. It does look kind of watery, so hopefully nothing goes too badly. Okay, that squirted pretty fast. I think that's enough. Seems like there's still a bit of max fleet on the tip, as you can see there. I think that's a solid component of it. So I guess I'll put the rest in there. So that was that. Let's see how it feels now. You can already hear a difference. It's more quiet now, as you can hear. But the main thing this was trying to improve was the speed, and I can definitely feel a bit of that. I thought it would be super fast, but it didn't turn out to be too fast. But it definitely is faster than before, like, you can actually see it. Now for the other one, this one is dry with no lube. U2.5 maybe, U2. Now this one, it's like solid U3s and almost like a U4 there. Wow. So how successful was this lube? I have no clue. I think it definitely worked. It did speed up the cube, but its lubricant's still kind of weird. It seems like the things couldn't mix properly because of some chemical reasons I don't understand. So yeah, I think this is a pretty good start. Hopefully the other lubes go a bit better than this one. This one was a bit messy, but yeah, still, I think it's a success. I'll rate it like maybe 7 out of 10. It wasn't that bad. but I think it could be a bit better. Now we're going to try to make this next lube, which makes this cube hopefully a lot more smooth and a lot more quiet. So here are the lubes that I'm choosing. First off, Lubricant 1 again. This makes cubes very quiet, which I like. Next off, you can't really go wrong with Silk. Also very nice, quiet, smooth lube. This one's surprising, it's actually speedy. So this one I find actually less speedy and more smooth. It's kind of weird that I don't think this lube makes cubes that fast, but I do think it makes cubes pretty smooth. Lastly, this is probably going to go badly again, but we're going with some Angstrom Dignitas. This is not a traditional lube at all, so as you can see, it's from this container, not any like syringe or anything, so I'm not sure how to mix this, but I guess we'll figure it out. Now that I think about it, this lube might actually work pretty well. We have some 3 silicone lubes here, and then we have one of these Angstrom lubes here to mix it up. Also, these colors are actually pretty cool. I can't wait to see them like mix up. Before it was just like yellow, white, and gray. It wasn't really too much color here. But now we have a green and like a red orange. So with these colors, I think it will bring some nice variety to this lube. So maybe this time we'll start off the heavier lube and then go towards the Lubricant 1. So let's start with Silk, I think, then Speedy, then Lubricant 1. Finally end of this, which I'll figure out I guess later. So again, I think 5 to 6 drops of each lubricant would work pretty well. So let's start off with the Silk. So there it is. It actually doesn't look too green, it looks like more clear. I guess it might show a bit more later, but for now it actually looks kind of clear. So next we have Speedy here. Again, 5 to 6 drops of this as well. So this one just dropped out much quicker. This is definitely a lighter viscosity. So it's quite weird. These lubes actually have some color to them, but putting them together, it makes it pretty clear, which is kind of interesting. I did not expect that. I guess we can go on with Lubricant 1, the lightest of these lubes. So yeah, the viscosity changed a little bit. I think it's a bit more light now, but the color is still the exact same, which is pretty interesting. Like, I can barely see any like orange or green or red or anything. It's just clear. Not sure why, but again, when I hold it like vertically, there is a layer of like milky white on top and then clear on bottom. So I'm assuming that's a Lubricant 1 I put afterwards. It's just like a layer of milky white on top, which is pretty interesting. Now next, we're gonna go with the Angstrom lube. This is probably where this all goes wrong. So I have the application stick thing, and then this thing, which is hopefully not gonna explode on me right now. So I think I got this much. I'm not sure if that's enough, but I don't want to add too much because I have no idea how this would mix. So yeah, I'm not trying to mix with the actual lubricant, I'm just trying to put it to the side. So hopefully it'll mix up later. Okay, now we have something. There's a bit of white here, which is the Dignitas, but I think I'll mix it up later. But now let's get this in first. And let's try this out, I guess. So as usual, let's shake this up first to see if anything happens. I don't think anything would with this one. It's pretty much all silicone. So yeah, nothing much really changed. I think the milky layer on top might have went away, but I don't think that's a big change. So yeah, not much difference there. Okay, it is in. Now let's try this out. So hoping this thing goes a bit better than last time. Let's get a bit inside, I guess. I think that was a decent amount. Yeah, it's still quite loud. I'm not sure what that is. So just to be fair with the lube, I think I'm going to add a bit more. Maybe I added too little. That might have been the problem. And now... okay, the feeling has changed, but I'm not sure if it's much quieter. It also got a bit slower, more controllable, which seems like it's more of the heavier lubricants kicking in now. Yeah, I'm not sure how I think about it. It definitely is a bit slower, more controllable. So yeah, I think it does have a bit of a lower pitch sound, which is interesting. But yeah, overall, I don't think this thing went as well as I thought it would. So this lubricant did not work as well as expected for sure. So yeah, I might have to give this a rating that's a bit lower. So maybe like 4 out of 10. But now for the moment you guys are all probably waiting for, we're gonna mix every single lubricant into one lube and try it in this cube. So here on the left, I have some of the silicone lubricants. Some of them are syringes, like this one. Some of them come in bottles, like these. And I actually have a lot of cool colors for these, which is pretty cool. I'm not sure how they would mix well though, because as shown before, the colors don't actually mix too great. But I guess we'll see. And then on the right side, we have all of the weird lubricants. Have some core lubricants here, Celeritas mixing lubricants, some water-based lubricants, a lot of weird stuff on the right here. So I think the plan is to mix stuff from the right first, because those are quite different and quite unique. And then finally mix in these silicone lubricants and see how they add color, or actually smell, because some of these have interesting smells. So first off, I want to try this. This is actually a core lube, not a piece lube, so this might go badly, as I said before, but let's try this. Since there's so many lubes, I think I'm going to go for a bit less drops here, maybe like 3 or 2. So this one has an interesting texture as well, as you can see. It's kind of solid. Maybe it's just a high weight lubricant. And it's like spewing out really weird solids, as you can see there. So yeah, there it is. It's kind of weird. It's not really that liquidy, it's more solidy and just sticking there to the edge. But I guess I will mix in the end. And speaking of a weird solid lube kind of thing, let's try some Max Fleet. This is also a bit strange. So first off, not much. Just a bunch of gray blobs here. But let's keep going. I think we'll add a bit of white here. So I got a bit of Dignitas. I think this should be enough. So let's just try to drop this in here. So now we have some white and gray blobs in here. Interesting. Now that we're out of the way with those lubricants, I think we can go with more of the more liquidy lubricants, such as Celeritas, DNM, and Lubricant 1. I guess we'll start with Celeritas. Let's see if this reaction can happen again. So starting with the A. A few drops of this. It's pretty hard to see. It's at the straight bottom, but there is a bit of that clearness silicone right there. Now let's add some color with Celeritas B. Okay, again it mixed kind of like before, but now we also have those gray and white blobs on the side, which should hopefully mix in later. But yeah, pretty much the same thing as before. Now Lubricant 1. It feels so weird. I feel like a chemist right now, mixing up all the chemicals. But yeah, that's Lubricant 1. Again, I'm kind of seeing a milky layer on top of everything, a little bit there. It's hard to see on camera, but I think it still is there from the Lubricant 1. Next for the DNM, and then we should be onto the silicone lubes. And again, we see that blob there. I think it's starting to mix in with the rest. But yeah, there's a bit of layer of the gray or the purple. Alright, so the syringes are a bit of a pain to actually apply, so let's do the bottles first. So I think we should go in the order of the rainbow, starting with red. And let's see how these colors add up. So the red loop actually has some color to it, which is interesting. We start to see a bit of red there. It seems to have gotten a bit heavier too, so that's interesting. Now I guess we can go with the light red, with the speedy. So again, not much has changed. I think it might be because the speedy is already red, or maybe because the speedy doesn't have too much color to it, but yeah, speedy has been added. Now for the orange. Not too much has changed. I see a bit of more of an orange tint on top, but there we go. It is also starting to fill up a tiny bit more and more each time. Now for the yellow. Again, there's starting to be a bit of progress. I can't really see the yellow too much. The yellow from before was Celeritas, but I can't see much of the previous yellow, but I do see the top getting a bit lighter, maybe. Let's go with the light green with the silk. Again, not too much color. To be honest, these colors just mixing together and it's ending up becoming clear, which is interesting. But yeah, that is the silk. Now we have this green. Now let's go with the blue. Let's go with the purple. Is that like a bit of a darker tint? Maybe that's because of the purple, I am not sure. But anyway, on to the final one. So those are it for the bottled lubricants. See a bit of progress here, but still not that much color, which is interesting. Still mostly just clearness and then the gray from before. And finally, onto the syringes here. So I think we should go in order of weight. So starting from the lightest and then going to the heaviest. So opening and closing all of these things is so tiring. I'm so glad bottles were used for lubricants and not these. These are just so hard to put on and put off. Well, this one has some interesting texture. Look at that, it's spinning. That's crazy. And then the final one. Alright, so after all of that is done, we finally have our final product. So the first thing I want to do before putting on the top is actually smell it. It kind of sounds weird, but this thing actually has some few scented lubes in it, so I want to see how it smells like. So the smell is quite interesting. I can't really describe it. It feels so weird, but it's kind of like a sweet scent. I think it's a combination of the overpowering like candy cane and jack-o'-lantern, like those scents. And those scents just overpower the other scents and it kind of mixes as like a sweet scent. It's hard to describe, but yeah, it's quite strange. Alright, so now putting it on the top. So actually it doesn't look like that much lubricant. Even though I put in so much lubricant, it doesn't look like that much, which is interesting. Maybe because I put like less of each. So it ends up there wasn't that much cool color. It seems like all the color just faded away and it just became clear, and now it's just the overpowering dark gray and maybe the bubbles from the D&M just overpowering everything. It also seems like it can't really mix too much better than this. Like there's always gonna be those solid bubbles or whatever, but I don't think there's much you can do about it. It's just the chemistry of those lubricants. Alright, now let's try to put this in this cube. So I am actually very curious on how this would perform, if it's any like better than the other lubricants. So now that it is mixed together, I do want to show the final product a little bit. There it is. Again, it's just clear with some black and white. But it's kind of cool. It's like a nice texture to it. It's clear, but then there's like some random solid parts here and there, which actually looks pretty nice. Alright, so enough of the look. Now let's test it out on this cube and let's see how it performs. So I'm not sure if you can see it squirting out, but the part that goes out is the clear part, which is strange. And then maybe like there's some black parts inside of it. Huh. Alright, now let's test this out. Alright, this is gonna sound quite dumb, but even though this was like the same exact cube of oak and was cleaned out, I think this is the best out of all of them. Like this thing actually performs pretty well. Like the speed itself is a bit fast, but it's controllable. The turns themselves are swishy and smooth, which is very nice. It's hard to describe, but it seems like this cube has a lot of balance to it. Like it's not too fast, not too slow. It's like really balanced. And I guess that is the fact of putting every single lubricant in there, because every lubricant has their own pros and cons, and then when you add them all together, it just balances everything out, I feel like. So quick comparison of all of these, we have the fast one, and then we have the smooth one, and then the overall combining of all lubricants one. Here's the fast one, the smooth one, and then this last one. So maybe it's because of its black plastic that maybe it feels better. I have no clue, but out of all of these, definitely this one is the best one. As for this last lubricant, I think I have to rate this pretty highly. I still think mixing the lubricants is definitely not practical, and just using one lubricant is going to be better than this. But for mixing all the lubricants, this thing actually didn't turn out too bad. Like, it's honestly not bad. It seems to have like a combined feature of these both cubes. Like the sound of this puzzle sounds more like the smooth cube, as you can hear. But this cube also has the speed of this fast cube, as you can see there. So overall, this experiment is actually pretty fun. I had a lot of fun like playing around with the different lubricants and seeing how they mix together. So obviously, I don't think this is super practical. I guess I'll play around with these lubes a bit more, but I don't think these lubes are like any better than current lubes. And even if they are, I think it's just better to put two lubricants in one cube rather than just mix them on one syringe. However, it still is pretty interesting to look at the chemistry of the lubricants and like how this gray part just stays solid, and so does the white kind of. And then like the D&M bubbles and stuff like that. And also how like the dyes of the silicone lubricants don't actually work out too well, because as you can see, it's pretty much all clear, which is also interesting. So I really didn't know what I was doing this whole time. I was just mixing random lubes and seeing what would happen, and I think it worked out decently well. Like, these lubricants look pretty cool. They actually work in cubes, which is actually good to see. And yeah, they didn't really mix the best. As you can see, there's a lot of solid parts and bubbles and stuff like that in here. Maybe if I knew more chemistry, I can do this experiment a bit better, but for what I have done, it went not the worst. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hopefully this was relatively entertaining, and see you guys in the next video.